Girl Shamans and them foul shot reporting on the Bamboozle Get News Network, where Negroes get bamboozled every day, B. But you got to grow in wisdom and knowledge, and not just knowing it, but have the ability to apply it no matter how vexing it may be to what you previously thought and what you thought you knew. There's a whole new game out here, Jack. How I want to go with this one. Yo, modern dating, I'm primarily talking about the black community. It's finished and it's done like Birdman said, yo. To the point where it's almost mind-boggling to see what the interaction between black men and black women has become in 2025. It's over, it's finished and it's done. It's too far gone. It's gonna have to be reset to where we go back to fundamentals. But under, the Babylonian system, I don't see it. Uh, I'll cover some celebrity type of stuff, and then I'll talk about personal experiences from people that I work with. Of course, leaving out names, right? So the Stank DeMoss girl, I guess she's the girl that sued Lyft because they wouldn't let her in because she would have broke the ass how she got in. I saw a video of her talking about she got a music video to I believe it's like an old rap beat from like the early 2000s. You understand? And she actually, she rides the beat, right? Now, mind this woman like this here, right? She talking about she got to eat so many Plan Bs because so many dudes is going up in her and what. Hey, what's going on, Brandon Hunter? So many dudes is going up in her and whatever that she got to fight these Negroes off. But if you look at her, literally, and it's not to be, condemning or judgmental. This the reality of the situation. The woman looks like, if you got a can of Pillsbury Dough and you bust it open and bust out, that's how she looked. But she's talking about how many Negroes she's running. And I was completely blown away and flabbergasted. And she's talking about Negroes as if there's something to be used and discarded, yo. How is she able to do this? Granted, I do believe because of pre-doctrination, black men have a unwavering loyalty to stuff that ain't loyal to them or don't care nothing about them. Then we looking at the Cardi B situation, right? In which she cheats on her husband with an NFL dude and tries to style on her husband by I upgraded, okay. But then the same dude a week later who you're cheating on your husband with hop on social media and say your BBL stink. So the dude you stunted on for your husband is stunting on you. This is no different than the rhetoric I was saying, like during the election, right? Where they were trying to shame black men into voting for Kamala. And they say, according to their numbers, that 80% did that. So black men did what black women asked to do. And then when she didn't win, they still blamed black men, when in reality, it was more so white women that propelled Trump into office, right? But they still blame. And had she won, they'd have stunned it on black men because now they got what they want. They don't need you anymore. I work in the substance abuse mental health field. And I've had to deal with a plethora of brothers today who are, I guess, disenfranchised because of the woman they chose to deal with. The gaslighting, the accusing, the eroding away at confidence. This is no different to me, a societal aspect of what the plantation was back then. They don't want you to escape. They don't want you to be better because you'll be no good to me. So I have to hold you in a certain place. And I believe the system has set it up like that. That's why we see these online movements of people, going across seas or getting with the snow bunny and this, that, and the third. It's not because they like them women like that. It's because our counterpart has become so devoid of any accountability, any soul and spirit that we might have once had. Brothers have had to walk away from that which they're designed to love. And that takes you having to do a manual override of your mentality. The worst thing you can do in modern dating is act like you care about. Now, you got to know the traits, right? But you got to know the worst thing you can do is act like you care. Here's what's paradoxical in the satanic society. You get more detriment towards yourself when you show somebody that you actually care about them in action. Once they feel like that, oh, I can do whatever to him. He'll forgive me, or I'll cry crocodile tears, or I'll gaslight, I'll project my insecurities onto him, make him question himself, erode his confidence, so on and so forth. And then once I make him a shell of his former self, then I can do what I was already doing anyway before I met the man, cheat, do whatever, da da da. This is insane. And I've always known this. but to a greater clarity and revelation. The brother, I listened to a video from the brother, the Thinking Man's Templar. He said, nowadays, if you're a black man in America, right, if you desire a wife truly, and of course there's always exceptions to the rule, you're going to have to ask the Most High for that, and He's going to have to put the life circumstance together to make y'all evenly yoked when He bring y'all together. Outside of that, you just going out picking and choosing and thinking you see some good traits, and people are playing chameleon out here. Not just the sister, brothers do it too. What's so odd is the bamboozlers are bamboozling each other. But now it seems like they're getting tired of that. There's no win in that. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I don't know how it works spiritually, right? But it seems like if you cannot be perfect, but let's say you got some genuineness towards yourself and other people, people will exploit that for their own purposes, ego, or a lot of time from what I'm saying, these people don't have any purpose, any goals, dreams, aspirations, anything along them lines. So what they're doing is they're getting off on the fact they can stop you. They can get you to question what you thought you were doing. That's their sole purpose on earth. They have no greater goals, and if they do, they have to like hit the lottery or somebody got handed to them. But putting in work, operating consistently, growing, mentally, emotionally, getting rid of trauma, dealing with it effectively, accepting, that's dead. They're too far gone. And I'm more so pertaining this to, black men dealing with black women, but also for black women who, let's say, whatever your life experiences is, and you've repented or you see the error in your ways, be careful for the incubus male who is seeking to prey on the fact that you've changed. Now, you don't have to tell them. It's like something in the spirit gets alerted to where this is what they're doing. Very subtle. I've seen videos like, why don't quote unquote chosen people get together? That may be because we're few and far between. I know the word talks about being unequally yoked. And more oftentimes than not, and speaking personally, right, there's nothing else out here. So submit yourself to the Most High, and I know it get lonely or you may have physical yearnings because we're all human, right? But stick to that till He send you some, because I'm a firm believer. If something is sent by the Most High, you ain't going to have to question it. Now, you'll have to steward it, but you ain't going to have to question it. You ain't going to have to, like, if I got to wonder, or you're making me wonder about your loyalty, or if you are who you portraying yourself to be, I'm finna stop wondering and leave, because I got enough sense to do that. I truly believe that the root of all suffering is the inability to break toxic attachments, whether it be mother, father, family, homeboy you know for 30 years. I've noticed this with myself personally. As I've continued to grow and evolve and attempt to be obedient, have something revealed to me and then try to operate in it, that's the best version of myself I've ever been. But it's like the higher I climb as an eagle, the less birds you see. But it does give you a vantage point to look down on everything and know where all the predators are. Here's the food. Here's, this particular tree I can. It gives you a better vantage point. And from the vantage point I see, through personal experience of working with people, my own, prior life experience, and through the lens of social media, the landscape looks barren. When the word talk about people be lovers of themselves and lovers of money, that's all it is out here. That's all it is. How can we have a black community where there is no unity? And the glue that holds unity or a community together has to be love. But there's no true love. I generally want to see you do the best. How many times have you, let's say, gotten a degree? How many people cheered for you? You know what I'm saying? Anytime we celebrate people who come home out of prison in the black community, more so someone graduating college, there's a problem. Now I'm starting to understand why only a remnant of us are supposed to make it, whatever's supposed to befall Babylon. Not even necessarily from a spiritual sense, but from a character, moral, and internal sense. What are we going to fall back on? If I have a history, let's say, which I do, let's say using drugs, I can stop right now, right, which I have. But it's going to take a period of time to stop the behavior, even though the drugs are gone. So let's say you're a rampant whoremonger, right? You can stop today, but it's still going to take you a period of time to get out of the mental construct, thought process, and strongholds. So you'll still see stuff from the vantage point, even though you're not actively doing it. And from what I'm saying, as the word talks about how the world doesn't understand things of the spirit, they're not going to understand none of the stuff I'm talking about. I have seen so, like, is fidelity and faithfulness even a thing anymore. I personally speaking, I don't know of individuals that are associated relationships and somebody ain't cheating. And not only are they not, like back in the day, it seemed to me people would cheat, with someone better or more money, look better, whatever. That's not happening now. People are cheating because the opportunity presents itself. Segue me, please. So I had a brother come in today, right? He got jammed up in an issue, I'll say, right? So he explained the situation to me with him and his boss. So they trying to play the 50 or whatever. But he tells me when he's talking to the boss's wife, I guess she's the secretary of said company, that well, I should tell him you gave me fellatio. I said, God darn, boy, that's wicked. So it's not like this. He's the owner of the company. He got all the money, but your wife gives fellatio to someone that he's paying. But let's say the roles were switched, right? And the guy I know is with this particular woman. She would then just cheat with the owner of the company. They're not cheating because of something you're not doing. They're cheating because the opportunity presents itself. They are totally given over into lasciviousness and reprobatism. Here's the word playing out in real time. And again, I live in a small town. It's like, Smallville, whatever you want to call it. And if folk don't do nothing else, they will hucklebuck. And I get it in the sense of, that's right underneath what's that? Food, shelter, clothing. Sexual desire is probably right underneath that, or the desire for that, right? But note, like the word talk about, people are lacking self-control. And what's so mind-boggling to me is the fact that it seems like nobody's concerned with disease. You know what I mean? Nobody. I understand this here in Babylon. Let's say I meet a young lady, right? It's just a reality situation. If I start talking to her and there's some mutual interest, I've got to generally understand that 9 times out of 10, she's actively talking to some other male, if not having sexual relations with that. And this is what we got to pick from. Not from a look standpoint, and of course men are out to creature, right? Not from a look standpoint or anything. I'm talking from an internal spiritual standpoint. I believe it was the brother H. Long on my last live was saying the software is corrupted. With the advent of AI and how it's able to manipulate the algorithm, whatever's going on spiritually through incremental societal engineering and so on and so forth, is changing people's software. So they might look how they used to look when you know them if you're growing, evolving, or the Most High done got a hold of you. But something different, they functioning different. Their programs ain't they're not operating the same way. And you'll see it in various nuances, little things they say, little things they might do. Like, now, of course, I'm thinking to myself, like, am I fault finding or am I overly hyper vigilant concerning this? And that may be the case for survival purpose. Because this is all, the modern day culture is predicated on survival and your ability to know who you're dealing with, or at the very least, this trait I have, sense it, even though I don't have all the intellectual information. When you get that gut feeling, male or female, that something ain't right, something is telling you that. Don't, instead of giving people the benefit of the doubt in 2025, doubt the benefit of the people. It's best to, and I'm all for coming together. I'm all for righteous marriage. I'm all for brotherhood. I'm all for sisterhood. But as it currently stands, it is real in the battlefield. What's going on, brother? Bright? Hey, what's up, brother Anthony? And so this is more so because I'm a man, so I, talk to the brother. As they say in Louisiana, be easy, Wardy. These sisters, and I don't want to put it like I'm, just, because they ain't all sisters. And I'm of the belief if you check out my cam, you ain't out this mob, right? But and you may not know this, because there's a game going on you that you don't realize. And if you don't know the game, you'll become the game. These a lot of time behind closed door, these sisters are practicing witchcraft, tarot card reading, the conjuring up of ancestors and whatnot to God them, which is all outlawed in the Old Testament. It's like, it's like, even though God created us, right? It's like now we hate God because he's trying to restrict us from destroying ourselves. How dare you try to stop? I'm glad he got a hold of me. Left up to my own device, or how the word talk about lean not to your own wisdom and understanding. What I'm talking about now, I've been knowing it, been saying it, but because of my own thinking, no, it can't be. In the empathy and the goodness of my heart, no, it can't be all of them. Here's another thing. Whatever you're attempting to facilitate or ascertain, right? If you put yourself in the right position by doing what you're supposed to do, treating people right, giving reverence to the Most High, so on and so forth, you'll walk into whatever's for you or you'll attract it. But going out here chasing or looking, have you seen her? Tell me that ain't gonna work, Jack. That's not 1960. This is a whole different animal we in. Brother Bryce said you gotta go in a relationship with an offensive and defensive game plan. Here's my offensive defensive game plan in a relationship sense, even in like a job sense and all that. Understanding as a man, I had to build up leverage. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have any leverage, people will just treat you however they want to treat you because they feel you need them or you're codependent on them, right? So I don't delve myself into nothing I can't pull myself out of without a second thought unscathed. You understand me? And then I'll just review the data later like a scientific project. Because whatever you can't pull out, like Babylon, it said, come out from her. You know what I'm saying? Because they refer to Babylon as a whore, right? And it has all the traits of a whore. You know, the selling yourself for money, exporting Babylonian culture into other areas. Like so now, South, from what I'm understanding, South America is kind of Americanized to a degree. When brothers go down there, here's another thing. I don't see none of them brothers who go to like Brazil and Colombia get no why. They just going down there for sex tourism. No, no, that's dead. You know what I'm saying? That's a sad, man. That's a sad. Yo, I long for the day I found word to be a part of Second Exodus, where we can live like the way we're supposed to live. Maybe with my grandparents, well, of course, but with my grandparents, where you had the family across the street, but they was all right. You could send your kids over there because you knew what they was hitting for. You knew what they believed in. You knew their character. You know what I'm saying? If you was short on potatoes, you get them some. Next week they might give you some brown sugar. We hate each other, yo. We have been designed and created to hate each other, and they financially incent. Like even if you look at the black community, the backdooring, which has become a thing. People on demon time, which has become a thing. Um, the promotion of sleeping with other men's wives, that never made no sense to me. Why would I want to sleep with your wife and you sleeping with her? And that, if you notice, when let's say like in the Cardi B situation, it's not so much that the other NFL guy is sleeping with Cardi B. In some type of masculinity sense, he want to be able to say he's sleeping with Offset wife. Like I'm more of a man than you are. You know what I'm saying? Well, she'll sleep with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like if she got in a relationship with him, but that ain't gonna work because he said her BBL stink. It's crazy. She would just go back and sleep with Offset. Like I've got homies that I personally know. Sister Brandon Hunter say, okay, in the light of, in the daylight with a flashlight. This is I know of partners who couldn't detach. Woman got on. I got two partners like this, and both of them, or one's a shell of a former self. He lost in the sauce, and the other one is now ready to do prison time because they were in a relationship with a woman who sell drugs, and the woman who used drugs, and the woman that's on hard drugs got you questioning your confidence in who you are. That's like the slave telling the master, or that's like me, which I could, but you know what I mean? You get it though. That's like me telling my director they don't know what they doing and getting them to question their skills when if I was in that position, I couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? Yo, everything here in Babylon is flip floppy, it's inverted, yo. And and then here's another thing I'm saying, right? And I agree for the young sisters, right? Because a lot of time, if the man ain't in the home, he either got to stay away to keep his peace of mind, or they just put some Pookie Ray Ray, and he don't care nothing about nothing. He ain't got no more problem. That's why they be picking these out of jail dudes on drugs or whatever for the leverage porn or whatever. And then she can just say, well, if you say something, oh, they ain't your kids, or oh, I take care of you, woo, 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 right? I'm seeing so many young sisters, high school age, coming outside looking like harlots, bro. And it's like, yo, they about the same age as my daughter. And I'm like, and I already know you got all these freaky pervert. Here's what's so crazy. If like I'll be 43 in September, Lord's will. So if I'm of the R. Kelly mind, all these women, whatever they too, setting their ways or whatever. Or what's the dude name? Ringo. He talking about get them young and do all this here. In reality, like for the mass of black men, what option you got? And then let's say you date another racial woman or you go leave the country where your money change over different. Then they'll shame you for getting off the plantation. But while you was on there, they carried all the piss out of you. It's so mind-boggling. It's hard to make sense of, and you can't. That's why I'm fooled with it. It's hard enough for me to try to articulate it and the various nuances of the game that I'm seeing playing out. Sister Brand said, but she's the wife. She should know her place as a wife. I guess there goes the inversion of it, the masculinization of the woman and the effemination of the man. You know what I mean? I guess that's at play. And they've been working on this maybe since the plantation, but I know they revamped it, during the 60s. That might have been the last time we were really cohesive, you know what I'm saying? As a community, as a family, and then they change people's belief system through mass media. You don't need a man, and he's holding you back. Same thing in the Garden of Eden, where Satan told Eve, uh, "Well, he know if you eat from the tree, you'll know both good and evil." You know what I'm saying? Getting us to question what we hide with. Now we want more, so we'll lose what we had. No, how's it worded? We got what we wanted, but we lost what we had. You understand? That's a yo. And having to witness and see the effects, especially as there's this now, not necessarily, and it's overt as far as, let's say, police brutality and all that, but the weapons against the black man has become so, it's like a quiet weapon for a silent war, where most brothers, I'm assuming, which there's plethora of information, so I don't know unless you just reject it, like, they say, in the word will reject the truth, right? Where brothers are just choosing out of shame or whatever to continue to do things that aren't conducive to them. It's hard, and I had to go through this where I'm kind of programmed to be the self-sacrificial lamb and give my all to other people. And then when you're not in a position to do that, you don't see none of people. You got to put yourself first, and that's selfish. But my life has been beneficial beyond belief when I put me first. And if I put me first, I can put everybody else where they need to be at. I can, delegate and steward and so on and so forth. But if I'm playing from a subservient position, I have no power. And it really, like, you ain't got no power here over other than the power over you, your decision making, and who you choose to fool with in wisdom. Brandy said most of the men coming out of jail prison have. That's another, which is, here's another, and I think I might have talked about this in my last video where, um, let's say Diddy, right? Now he, right? But Diddy will never be at a loss for women, even though these women know he's dealt with other men. They've rewired and inverted the game so much, so I doubt women in mass, in general, can recognize what a man is or actually truly desire one and all the components that come with it. Because the society, y'all, you don't have to listen to a man, but you'll listen to a bamboozler. But a man, as I've seen, who has your best interest at heart, oh, you don't tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm telling you or advising you to do out of love is for the best interest of you and yours. So why wouldn't you want that? You know what I'm saying? Of course, as men, we can't understand none of that. Brandon says she's the one to blame, just being a man, and if it's not him, it'll be someone else. This is, this is sometimes it's hard to come up with words to quantify what I'm saying and the reciprocal evidence that's taking place. I'm seeing so many brothers deal with the harlot woman, right? To where, as a word, they're a shell of the former selves, and they ain't got no shake back. They ain't got no comeback in them. They're forever destroyed. And it's like the other party gets some type of spiritual notch on their back, like I claimed another victim or I've harvested another soul. When we need men, and I ain't talking about like the zesty flamboyant kind. I ain't talking about the over rah 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 kind. Just a man with vision, with foresight, with discipline. As I've had to learn these things and then adopt these things in practicality in my everyday life, the more I heal, the less attractive people look to me who I once would have dealt with. Because now I have too much to lose, and because I put forth the work and the effort, I'm just not willing to put that on the line. Just like if you run in a business, now you can take calculated risk, but the only time I take a calculated risk, if the calculated risk is worthy enough or will garner like a reward or benefit in the end for me to roll the dice. But most time I end up catching. Now let me get that. I'm catching all the dice because I don't believe in any of the roles are gonna pan out to where I win. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't win, my child don't win. My elders and my family don't win. All this is on me, as I want it, with the grace and the leading of the Most High, as He forms me and who He'll need me to be for His glory. But and the word, especially in Proverbs, talk about not dealing with the harlot or the strange woman, or it also talks about the bamboozlers, as I like to call them, who has a word said, women laden down with guilt and sin, and then they get up in their home and bamboozle them and all that. That's why most of the black churches are filled with black women. They're not telling them like an older brother telling them somebody to love. They just telling them what they want to hear, and everything that you're going through is some man fault. Even though you keep dealing with the same men, you say keep contributing to whatever your trauma is. But you don't sit back and think, why do I attract these men, or why these men attracted me, or why I do this, woo, woo, woo. There's no critical thought. There's no self-reflection. There's none of that. We're almost to the point. I know the beast system is rising, but it's like the beast system is rising in people where there's no critical thought. People are just moving on sheer instinct, primal instinct at this point. Eat, splat, find somewhere to lay my head at. That's it. There's no woo, wee, boys, and it's only going to get progressively worse as the economy, as the governmental restrictions, as the spiritual impositions continue to get more weightier. So we, in response, should be getting stronger. Like what I'm talking about now, 3, 4 years ago, I'd have known it, but I didn't want to operate in what I knew. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to do that because I wanted to be my way. I got to deal with the way it is, not the way I want it to be. And since I've been able to do that, uh, like I've seen progress. I've overcome things. Like I just went to war with child support. I just had to file another modification for child support because that was totally different. Okay, I draw back, get my mind right. Let me go deal with this. I can effectively deal with stuff now because I don't have nothing in my personal life trying to chip away at me or trying to get me to question what they got me to this point. And I'm a firm believer with my connection with the Most High. If I'm staring or I don't know something, He will let me know. And if He give me a message through somebody else, it should already confirm what He was already telling me anyway. You know what I'm saying? Please, y'all, cover y'all six, male and female. You know what I'm saying? Let's endure a little more. Saying it to y'all, saying it to myself. I want to appreciate Miss Brandy, my, my man Anthony Bryce for tapping in with the kid. Um, Now because of my new work schedule, ain't nobody here. I will be able to go live more, and I will be able to like I didn't have time today because I had some late transports. Really chop down some notes and really try to give it raw the way I've been getting it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a raw game out here. You know what I mean? Brothers going to jail left and right for telling on themselves. There seem to be no functional marriages. Sit with me, please, right? So I know of a family member, right? Um, and they've recently gotten into the mental health field. They got their own business, their own practice, right? So she just got divorced, and this is her third marriage, right? So someone else is telling me the story, and they're kind of putting it on the man. Of course, two sides to playing the story, right? But the man left my family member, and when he left, he had cancer. So I'm thinking to myself, I said, whoa, now, Dad. If a man who may be in the process of dying of cancer chose to leave his wife when he got cancer, that's saying something, Jack. If any time you need support, family, a significant other, be them. But with him being diagnosed with cancer, he chose to leave my family member and hack it with whatever he got going on, then stay attached to my family member while he got cancer. My man said, if I leave up out of here, I'd rather leave up out of here on my own accord. But if I leave it, I ain't gonna leave suffering mentally. Yo, that's sad, bro. I never thought I'd see the day. I've read about in the word or I've seen, intellectual discourse about, but I never thought it would be this rampant. I didn't think everybody would be this programmable at this point, yo. You know what I mean? Even when I was in the grips of addiction, like I still knew and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to sleep with nobody like man. I'm drunk, but I still don't want to do that. You know what I mean? For what? Man, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Where the woman ain't got no husband. Where, you know what I'm saying? Like I never got off on backdooring my homeboy for momentary monetary gain. If anything, I've actually been more vexed by doing, random acts of kindness or just or holding a real, a homie down like a real homie supposed to. And they took advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still like that. I'm just more wise about who I extend that to with the general understanding based on the word that the average person I meet in the world is of the world, or if I knew them in a former version of the world, if they're not trending towards the Most High, they're trending towards the adversary. Protect your heart, protect your spirit out here, man. This a real public service announcement because it look wicked out here. When I see, let me check my time. I'm ready to get up off here. Uh, when I look at the AIDS and the STD rates in Houston, Atlanta, New Orleans, and the DR, these numbers are mind blowing, Jack. Of new cases, not already pre new jumps. No, sir. Hey, I appreciate that, Mr. Three Music. I appreciate you, homie. I'm gonna keep driving the way I give it to him how it come to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of seeing brother take the ball by the way. And I've been fortunate to escape the various snares set forth by the enemy. You know what I mean? My man Anthony said he putting up numbers. Kobe. I mean, it's mind blowing. Like they had something like 100,000 new cases in the DR. How many people's in the DR? Everybody got a new case. Come on. And then with the vaccine, with the they said that's kind of I don't like if let's say I have unprotected sex with somebody vaccinated, right? Does that transfer to me like HIV? So that makes slim pickings even slimmer. You know what I'm talking about? And I know they do have the depopulation agenda, so that might be part of it for those who truly want. And here's another thing, because I'll start around. I do gotta get up off here, right? Okay, let's say whatever's going on with like the immigration, ICE, and all them people, right? The people who should be coming together or have a different culture but a similar plight as far as the transatlantic slave trade. I think this is manufactured rhetoric to get us to be because they sow division, they sow discord. If anybody outside of culture understand each other, it should be me and the Haitian man, me and let's say the I don't know, the Brazilian man or the Hispanic man, the Mexican man. You know what I'm saying? Even though this system is oppressing us through the lens of social media, which I believe they're artificially manufacturing, disdain, discord amongst us, because Lord forbid we come together if we're supposedly all descendants of the true 12 tribes, but we're all still getting oppressed. And man, y'all stay up out here. I hate to end it like this, but I'm ready to get off work. One love, baby. Keep y'all head up, man, and cover your six, and check your inner circle. I seen a meme of Fred Hampton, and there's a picture of him in the Black Panthers on the courthouse steps. Do you realize the FBI agent Robert O'Neill was in that same picture, playing like a friend, but he was working for the enemy, almost on the Judas type tip? I pray y'all protection in the Most High. With that, I'm signing off. It's your man, them Foul Shot. I'm reporting live from the Bamboozle Again News Network.